Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, here with Jonah Friedman. I'm Nick Fershaw, and Jonah. We'll start at Rio Tinto Stadium in Salt Lake City. RSL hosting the Columbus Crew in the CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinal. RSL wouldn't have it any other way. A do-or-die game at Rio Tinto and a 4-1 win.
And maybe a little more nerves than people expected. Jason Kreis admitting after the game that he wasn't quite sure how the team would respond. Really, with the backs against the wall game, they have to win, but they got the result they needed.
Yeah, they definitely responded well. 2 goals from Javier Morales, 1 for Alvaro Saborio, and 1 for Andy Williams. And from the Crew's side, we heard some complaints about that second goal from Javier Morales, roughly midway through the second half, whether or not Espindola was offsides on that goal. To no avail, the Crew head home, while RSL, they move on to the semifinals, first MLS team in the Champions League semis. They'll face the winner of Honduras' Olympia or Saprissa from Costa Rica.
Yeah, Saprissa with the 1-0 aggregate lead, and this does not get any easier for Real Salt Lake. This is 2 teams who have a combined 5 CONCACAF titles between them, so it's going to be tough.
Again, that Saprissa Olympia series wraps up Thursday, and as Jonah said, Saprissa holding the 1-0 lead. Move on to the Philadelphia Union. There's news about Carlos Ruiz. Our folks over at Football MLS spoke with El Pescadito the other day for the Tiro Libre podcast, which comes out today, and he said there was really only one MLS team he was ever going to play for, and that was the Union.
Yeah, some nice love for the city of brotherly love. And don't forget, it was just a year ago where Frenchman Robert Pires said he didn't want to play for Philadelphia because it's, quote, not a beautiful city.
Yeah, Carlos Ruiz talking about the Union courting him for a year. You can bet that Diego Gutierrez, the former Fire player and the Colombian star, would have a lot to do with that. We've seen him pull a lot of talent in this year. One last note from the Philadelphia Union defender Michael Orosco Fiscal, rumored to be on his way out. You can find that story on MLSsoccer.com. And Jonah, we'll move to Sporting Kansas City. There's good news surrounding Teal Bunbury. We saw him go down in the preseason with a dislocated elbow. He's eager to get back for that March 19th opener against Chivas USA.
Great news for Sporting Kansas City fans. We were there in Arizona. We saw it happen. A really scary moment. He was on the ground for a long time. Who knew that he would get back this soon? It's great news for Kansas City.
Again, expected to be back maybe for that opener, if not in late March for Teal Bunbury and Sporting Kansas City. Moving on to the Houston Dynamo, there's news that Dominic Oduro, the former forward, possibly back in camp with the Dynamo now, and that's good news for Dom Kinnear with all those bruisers up front.
Yeah, great news. Dominic Oduro was second on the team last year with 5 goals, and he's a great complement to that stable of big man they have in Houston with Cam Weaver, Brian Ching, Will Bruin. So that's some nice compliments, some speed to add to the big guys.
One bit of good news for some fans down in San Diego. David Beckham and the LA Galaxy playing there tonight against CD Tijuana. This is expected to be Beckham's debut with the club this spring. They'll play on the campus of University of San Diego. And one last thing before we go, we saw 22 players waived as part of the roster compliance. On Tuesday, they'll be entered into the waiver draft. On Wednesday, that's at 3 p.m. Eastern. DC United hold the top pick on that. See if they take any players. You can follow that story on MLSsoccer.com.